from the Nordics, like our colleagues from Neptune. First of all, I would like to say thank you to the organizers of this fantastic event. They are volunteers, and I think they deserve our gratitude. I would like to present something that we consider is super important for the SAP architecture of the future. And it's basically event-driven end-to-end architecture. I'm presenting is myself. I'm Asier Vega. I'm the director of Trifork in Barcelona. And together with me is Greg. He's our CTO. Just what we're going to do, what we're going to show you is our perception of what was SAP before and what is now, thanks to the BTP and the changes they have been doing. And then we're going to deep dive on the events in SAP with a live demo. And I don't know if you have seen, but we have a little drone here.
Sure.
We hope it works. It's a toy, and it's not easy to make it work, but we will try. Good. Just a short introduction of what we do in Trifork. We are a company from the Nordics. We are more than 1,000 employees. We are in more than 12 countries, Spain included, in Barcelona and in Mallorca. And we have a lot of focus on high-end technology. And that's why also you see 25 startups that we collaborate with, and we use them as a test, as a way of experimentation. And in the SAP world, we already collaborate with one startup. Good. What do we do? We are experts in multi-platform solutions, and we focus a lot on the SAP stack from the traditional ERP, ECC, S/4HANA, to working with BTP and everything that the BTP can do these days. What does it mean to work with the BTP? Is it only for ABAP developers? No. It's a very good way of connecting your enterprise systems with the outer world. And that's why we call this multi-platform solutions, where we work with mobile, we work with desktops, we work with tablets, but we also work with connected devices. How do we, what kind of technologies do we use here? Just you name it. Any of the modern technologies combined with the power of SAP can do your life a lot easier. And we work a lot with the iOS stack, with Android, with the .NET, and with the most modern technologies like React, Angular, .NET Core, Node.js, etc. Good. So this is a topic that we discuss a lot with our customers, and it's what's the evolution of SAP? And SAP then used to be a fortress. The IT administrators say, don't touch my SAP data. It's only for me. Don't touch it. Don't jeopardize it. So it was a hyper-protected system from the IT departments. It was difficult to integrate. Sometimes it was underperforming. And especially it was very difficult to connect with other systems and solutions. But the situation has changed a lot. And now SAP is on a journey to be a rocket. It's working like Tesla or a SpaceX. Now they have the ERP, the modern ERP, S/4HANA, or SuccessFactors, Business One, etc. It has the BTP as an enabler for innovation, thanks to the power of HANA, mobile services, portals, API management, you name it. And then SAP now is very good at connecting with devices, with external devices, with your customers, with your internal departments, you name it. And all this in one single user experience. Not anymore in experiences scattered around that the users don't know how to use when they get the new solution. Now it's also based on open and modern architectures. It's no longer only ABAP. It's also the architectures, the technologies that I showed you before. But the most important thing is that SAP is on a journey, and Oliver, I would like to challenge you to not be an enterprise-grade solutions, but SAP is on a journey to do consumer-grade solutions. And what's the difference here? When you open a new app in your phone that you download from the public app store, if you don't know how to use it in the first 20, 30 seconds, it's out. It's out. And in the enterprise world, this doesn't happen. But why not? With the BTP, the Fiori framework, and with the modern technologies, we are now able to do consumer-grade solutions. Good, and the demo that we're going to show you is based on a little hackathon that we had internally 3 weeks ago, where we gathered all of our developers to do a connected drone through S4HANA, BTP, and the drone. It's a toy, and it's not a production. It's not a production environment. So let's see how it performs today.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Yep. Perfect. So the topic of today is events and events in SAP. Let's just jump straight into it. So what are some of the common integration challenges that we face today? Well, we all know we usually have a slow backend system. SAP is notoriously known to be slow responding. Temporary system overload, end of the month comes, everyone's trying to do their timesheets or whatever they're trying to do over there, ERP goes down, or it's underperforming, or as I say, completely overloaded. We have a lot of jobs happening, bash jobs kicking on every night, trying to do something, files being sent up and down. We have to manage job schedules, all these complicated things. If we have mobile devices, we have a big sync button that we ask users, please, every morning when you wake up, hit the sync button when you have good Wi-Fi connection so you can make sure you can download everything. When failures happen, systems kind of freeze, they don't know what to do about it. When the system's trying to call another system not responding, well, then what? Every time we want to integrate with a new system, there's a whole bunch of effort. Okay, what do you talk? I talk REST, you talk ORData. Do we need a middleware? Do we need this? Do we need that? A whole lot of effort. Typical landscape, a lot of people might have something like this. So you have a backend ECC system, you might have a SAP gateway, or we call it a front-end server, whatever you want to call it. If you're doing mobile apps, SAP recommended approach, have mobile services, usually in the cloud, and you sync that up. So you have daily syncs going on from mobile services that does a full sync usually, gets all the data from the backend SAP system, and I mean that's not one sync, that's sync per user. You have your desktop users hitting your front-end server directly with all these Fiori apps that we talked about earlier, and every time they open this web app, it probably does about 45 calls to the backend just to get some data. We know OData is notorious at just calling. And of course, we have files being sent out. In this scenario, we're talking about a warehouse. So I've got a little warehouse over there. Usually synchronous communication, you're communicating directly to a warehouse, usually via HTTP or maybe RFCs, and you're communicating directly with that system. Again, what happens if something fails? How do we manage that? We have to build complex logic, complex flows to manage failures, to manage when something goes wrong. When you want to scale this out, when you're adding a lot of mobile devices, when you're adding a lot of web Fiori apps, your backend starts crashing. Your backend stops becoming unresponsive. You have users getting frustrated. At Trifork, we believe in an exceptional user experience. And we've seen it time and time again. If we don't provide a great experience, we lose, the app is lost. People don't use it, the traction gets lost, people don't want to see it, and it just never gets used. So we believe in a great user experience, and we believe events can help us do that. So what are events? Who's ever worked with events, an event mesh? Okay, so let's start from the beginning. What is an event? An event is anything that happens. If I kick this thing, it's an event. Okay. When you go and update your equipment information, it's an event. When you update your business partner, it's an event. When you update your account, it's an event. Anything that happens is an event. An event can be a message of a few characters. It can be just an equipment number or the key. It can be the whole payload. You can design it however you wish. What are queues? A queue is, as the name suggests, it's a funnel, it's a pipe that you put messages on the one side and your consumer on the other side. We usually have one queue per one consumer. So if you have 10 consumers, you have 10 queues. What's a topic? A topic is something that when you're raising an event, you're saying this event is about topic business partner. This is about topic equipment updated, and so forth. what are queue subscriptions? So each queue subscribes to a bunch of topics. So what's a nice analogy for this? Think about Twitter. Okay, so think of events and event mesh like the Twitter of system-to-system integration. Every day, you wake up in the morning, you open Twitter, you subscribe to a bunch of hashtags, these are the topics, and it shows your feed, that's your queue. It's your curated queue of the topics that you've subscribed to. Okay, same story with systems. Every time you connect to the queue, the event, you're seeing the messages that are related to the topic that only you're interested in. If someone else connects to event mesh, you only get the topics that he's interested in. We can both be getting exactly the same information on two different queues, and that's okay, because we both subscribe to the same topic. So what does this all mean? It means reacting to events instead of time-based jobs. Okay, so I don't need batch jobs running anymore. When I'm done, when I process something, I'll let you know about it, you handle it. Delta processing of changes. When something gets updated, I will let you know, you can come fetch the latest data. The big advantage, you're decoupling the sender and the receiver. I will let you know there's something happened in my system. It's up to you to decide what you do about it, when you do that. And if you fail, it's up to you to decide how you're going to manage that because it's your system. Okay? Naturally, the system is fault tolerable. If I'm trying to process an event and the system breaks, the event will stay in the queue. It will not get lost. When my system comes up again, the message will be waiting for me in the queue so I can process it again. We can stream these events to our front-end systems to do a smarter sync. So we don't have big syncs on a daily basis. We can have smarter syncs, only sync up the data that has changed. And a big thing, we can start using these mechanisms, we can start alleviating our back-end traffic. How do we do this? At Trifork, we have something called mobilizing your ECC S4HANA data. We've got three approaches. We're not going to talk about the middle approach. If you want to talk about it, call us. So traditionally, you have a classic approach where you expose OData services from your back-end system via OData, and you build mobile apps. Works fine, but it's not scalable. It puts a lot of load on the back end. It's not performance optimized, and it's dependent on ECC. Every time you want to do changes, you have to change ECC. So what do we suggest? We have an event-driven approach where we start replicating this data into an external database, usually a HANA database. It can be a PostgreSQL, it can be a MongoDB, it can be any other database you wish. And we start taking all of this data and caching it into, we call it a HANA cache. So every time your mobile app wants to do a sync or any external system wants to get data from SAP, they don't hit SAP directly, they hit the HANA cache. We know in any scenario, you have 1,000 reads for one update. So I'm taking 1,000 reads and I'm alleviating the traffic from your SAP ECC system, and I'm only putting the update back to the ECC system. It alleviates the traffic tremendously. Okay, so the use case, we're talking about an event-driven warehouse. So what is the scenario? I'm a factory worker, I'm a warehouse worker, and I want to go and I need to count my stock. We're talking about high-valued assets. So in the system, we're talking about equipment, and these equipment sit in function locations, and I need to know where this equipment is, so where these products are in these function locations. So we've got a web app that I'll be showing you, and we've got the drone who will do some scanning for us. Very quickly, this is the architecture that you will be looking at. We have S4HANA in the backend. We have a CAP app, we have event mesh, we have the warehouse and the drone, and we have the front ends. We'll go through this again after the demo, but let's jump into it. So yeah, let's fly. I'll put this on in a bit. Where am I going? No, I'll tell you when to stand. Asia is a volunteer to be my rack, my shelf. So he will be holding my products. Okay. Okay. So, what network am I on? That's fine for now. So I'm logging on to my SAP system, my web app. This is running on Cloud Foundry, and I got my inventory app. If I go into here, I can see a bunch of function locations, and these are the locations where I want to assign equipment into. Currently, it's all been blanked out, but what I can show you immediately that if I need to go change some information because something's wrong, I can log into my ECC system. Assuming this connection is still alive, it is. I'm going to change this, and I'm going to try and make this smaller so we can see all the information happening in real time. So this is the part that'll tell you that there's a lot of moving parts and things might fail. Luckily didn't. Event received, HANA updated. There's exclamation mark there. That was real time. There was no refresh happening. Well, there was no manual refresh happening, and that took seconds, milliseconds. What happened in this process? The data, I updated SAP. SAP sent an event out to the event mesh. My Cloud Foundry app read the event and said there's updated data. It called an API to HANA to get the updated information, updated its HANA cache. It reposted an event to the queue saying, I've been updated. My UI is listening to this event saying, okay, there's updates, and did a refresh of the screen automatically, and hence I get the information. Okay, all that happened in real time. Now we're going to actually we want to do a scan in the warehouse. So I'm connecting to my laptop is acting like the warehouse, and Asia, I need you to stand somewhere there. As I said, Asia is acting like my shelf. He's holding my products. You can stand there facing the drone. And assuming all goes well, we will take flight. So the drone is trying to connect to the network, and hopefully it manages. There's not a lot of interference going on here. There we go. It's connecting to the network, and now I'm going to fire an inventory scan, and this is sending it to the queue. There we go. Don't worry, it's not going to come attack you. We haven't attached any knives to this thing. It's actually starting a video feed. It's scanning. It's not looking at Asia's pretty face, and eventually, after a few seconds, it should land right on cue. Okay, now a lot of things are happening in this moment. If everything goes well, hopefully you'll see some messages appearing on screen. The video feed is being taken, it's being split up into images, barcodes are being read, those barcodes are being associated between equipment information and function location information, then that is being compiled into a message which is being sent into the queue. The queue then is being processed by the CAP framework, and again, it's taking the information and doing updates to the backend system, and as soon as those updates happen, we should see information streaming on the screen saying that updates have taken place. This sometimes takes a bit of time, so this is the point where we wait a bit and hopefully all works fine. As I said, there's a lot of moving pieces. Sometimes the connection to the backend doesn't want to work as well. And we might also have lost the connection on this side. Okay, information is being processed, so we're getting products being installed. Taking a bit longer than expected. But we can start seeing that the information is being sent out, and is being processed in the back end. that the equipment are being installed in these function locations. So this might be a bit slow. There might be, hopefully no one is working on the system. But I think you get the idea. And I'm not locking anything, so that should be fine. Okay, let's leave it there. Ideally, if this had worked very nicely, we would have seen a few more equipments being installed over here. We only have one equipment being installed, and the events would have streamed showing that the events have come in here. As I said, it's a live demo. There's always gremlins walking about. Okay, let's move on. The next scenario that we're going to be dealing with is as I said, I'm the warehouse worker, and I'm going to go out in the warehouse, and I'm going to try find an equipment. So to do that, I need my mobile phone. So we've got a mobile phone app. Yeah, it is connected. That is connected. Okay, so we have the mobile phone app connected, and we're going to turn on the drone. And we're going to turn on the warehouse again. As I said, this drone is a toy. We don't recommend it for any real production scenario. So, yes. So it takes some time to connect to networks. So we have an app called the Warehouse Eagle. You can all see my screen. Yes, you can. So I'm going to open my app. Again, this is all demo type material. It's not something that will actually sell at a customer. Of course, it needs a lot of polish. It's actually now connecting to the back end. It's getting the information, and you can see it's got that one equipment, same as what we saw on the web app. The one equipment that was installed under the location. I can go now, and I can say, well, I'm actually looking for this main controller, and I'm going to tell it, let's go find the main controller. Again, it will send an event to the cloud, and the event will hopefully get processed by that guy, and it should take flight. This might take a few seconds. Then when it does take flight, it's going to take a picture of the room. So I expect you all to be on best behavior and smile for the camera. And there we go. It's going to turn around now. Smile for the camera. Keep smiling. Best behavior. An image has been taken. The image is going to be streamed now to an Amazon S3 bucket, and then the mobile app will hopefully get that location, get the image, and we should see our pretty faces on the screen in hopefully a few seconds. Again, this takes some time. Events are being streamed, and the connection between this device through the Wi-Fi takes a bit of time. So hopefully within a few seconds that will appear. That will. Okay, but yeah, that was the full demo. I'm just waiting for this picture to come up. Come. You can see in the background they're saying failed to post. There you go, message sent, finally. Which means I should be getting in a few seconds. There we go. This other blank image. Okay. Well, there we go. Woo! Yes! So as you can see, we've got an image of the room. You all look very pretty, all smiling. Thank you very much for that. And that's the demo. Let's go back to slides. No, not Postman, slides. Okay, so what did we see? How much time do I have? I think I'm doing okay. Yeah, we saw a lot. A lot of things happened. Some things failed. But it mostly all came together. So what, when I logged into SAP S4HANA system, what we saw is this is a laser pointer. Nope. I changed something in SAP. SAP sent the event to the event mesh. Event mesh read the Cloud Foundry app, read that event, called an API, OData API. We're using standard APIs provided from S4 system. So we're maintaining the whole thing of a clean code base in your S4 HANA system. There was zero ABAP written. Everything was using the standard APIs provided from S4 HANA. We got that information. We saved it in the HANA cache. We notified the front end. We do this using WebSockets. So we open a WebSocket connection between our CAP service and our front end UI, and that starts streaming the connection. So as soon as that event that HANA has been updated is received, it notifies the UIs, and that's how we got that event popping up on the screen. The UI then actually, when it wants to call the warehouse, it posts an event to the event mesh. The warehouse, which is simulated by my laptop, connected to the event mesh, got the message, started controlling the drone, did the scanning, did the barcode reading, and what you were supposed to see is that being sent up to the cloud and being processed down to S4HANA. And then, assuming all those updates went through fine, you should have seen on the app all the updates happening on the screen and all the updates happening. With the mobile app, we still use mobile services. It's still running via mobile services. What we have added is the connection to event mesh. So now the mobile app can actually listen to the same events that everyone else is listening to and start responding accordingly. We did a simple scenario where it just listened to product found events, and that's what we saw with the picture being taken. And that is the architecture. Very simple stuff, as you can see. This is a bit about the drone. Not really relevant for SAP, but if you're interested, it's a tele-drone. It's got a 30-minute flight time, 100 meters, 720p. Yes, not something I would sell to any customer. In closing, so what did we see today? We saw a warehouse type scenario that was fully end-to-end event driven. Would I do this at a customer? 100% like this? No. There's a lot of things that you will change depending what the customer scenario is about and what your use case is about. I think the point what we're trying to make is that events can make a lot of things simpler. You don't have to not everything has to be an event, but it's something to consider when you're building your architectures, and rather have more events than less events. Because the more events you have means that more people can start subscribing to these events and start taking actions on these things. And of course, yes, I wouldn't use this drone in a real warehouse. We usually recommend having Bluetooth beacons or a proper drone with an RFID scanner that can go up and down and do proper scanning of these things. And I think that's it. Thank you very much. If there's any questions. Questions?